Good morning, King Philip 8th grade families. There are a few of you on here. Yay! Welcome to our virtual open house. It's so good to have you with us all. And so I have some friends joining us, but let's go through a couple things beforehand. So if you have a friend who isn't here yet and they said they would be, just nudge them, send them the link so that they can join us. If you have someone who is unable to come, just let them know it is being recorded. And so they can click on the same link and they'll be taken to the recording after we are all finished. So just a couple of things about tonight, just to make sure that we're on the same page. Hopefully you have all the links, but tonight's goals really are to make sure that you have an opportunity to meet our admin and support team and to learn about a little more about our school philosophy. Most of you have been here for the whole 3 years, so this is a quick review.
We want you to learn about how we're going to be supporting connectedness and the emotional well-being of our students, especially given the fact that we had school closure of the brick and mortar in March, and we're coming back into a different situation. And then you'll have an opportunity at 7, as you know, to meet your child's teacher. So please make sure we're going to finish in about 20 minutes. And so that'll be a time for you to take a bio break if you need to, but also then to jump on to your team's site. Some of you may have to be admitted in because our Google Meets goes with a WHPS address. So we want to give you ample time to get on over and get settled there. So I want to just bring up our admin team. So I'm adding.
Hey, good evening, 8th grade families. I'm Justin Gussie. I'm really glad to see you here. I'm really glad to see your kids back at school over the past couple weeks in person. From my perspective, we've had a great start. I hope you're feeling the same. I know no matter what direction the school year takes, that your children are in really great hands. And I've been their assistant principal since they were in 6th grade, and I've seen so much growth, and it's just fantastic to see so many tall 8th graders back in the building.
They are tall.
Engaging in their learning with us. So
one of those tall 8th graders is my son, who shot up over the summer, and it's disconcerting. I'm learning just how to get. I don't know how any of you feel. I'm now the shortest person in my house. Mr. Kotler was unable to be with us tonight. He had a family emergency that he had to deal with, but he sends his hellos to all of you, and we want you to know that. As Mr. Gussie said, he's the 8th grade administrator primarily. Mr. Kotler's a 6th grade administrator. I take on a team, and they split 7th grade, and then I take on the Opal team, which this year is split 6 and 7. However, all of us are available to support you in what your needs are. So just understand that's a kind of a pathway to who is best suited, given your child's grade at 8th grade, it would be Mr. Gussie. But if for some reason you reach out to either Mr. Kotler or me, it's fine. We'll make sure that we support you, as I hope that we've always done going forward. So just a little bit about our focus. We're going to continue to support students' academic success as we have always done. We're going to continue building on students' social emotional skills. As you can see across the state, those of you who keep up, this is a huge emphasis for the Connecticut Department of Education this year, given what's been happening with COVID, but it's not a new emphasis for us. So we have been doing this work for the past 5 years, and so we will continue to do so. And now it feels great because we have a very collaborative process. So we are still a ruler partnership school, and the district has worked very diligently to make sure that we have advisory lessons that are not just about ruler, but that are CASEL aligned, and that's the Association for Social Emotional Learning that many people use, and the Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence are also partnered with them. We're also going to be focusing heavily, again, this is not new for many of you who have been a part of KP for 3 years, on cultivating community and doing that through advisory, but it's even so much more important given the hiatus that we've had. And so there will be an emphasis on how we continue to cultivate community within the building as well as virtually. And then we are going to be focusing more specifically on social justice and anti-racist education through our advisory model as well. So those activities start Thursday. And so on Thursday and Friday, we will be specific in terms of talking about social justice and giving kids skills to be an ally, to be an upstander, all those things we've been talking about. And now there is a consistent district approach to that. So you should be very excited about that. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at my other screen. All right, Mr. Gussie, this is all you. Yes.
That's what makes Principal Wright the middle school principal of the year. She knows when something might be confusing or troubling to people. She'll pass that off to me to explain. So, no, she's a middle school principal of the year for many reasons, but just teasing. Throughout this year, schedules might shift, but at least for the next 4 or 5 weeks, we've got a good idea of when we'll address the various priorities that Principal Wright just described. So while you might hear about A days and B days, if you have a child at the high school, those are A, B, C, and D days. Those differences are more important for your child to know than for you. For the purpose of this presentation, I'm just going to review the red and blue group splits. So students with last names that begin with letters A through K are attending school in person on the red days, for instance, on the first 2 days of school and throughout this week, as you can see on the slide and know from your experience. And students whose last names begin with letters L through Z are attending in person on the blue days. On school days when students are not attending school in person, so for instance, those students in the blue group today, they're expected to join their Google Class Meets from 1:30 to 2:50 each afternoon, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Across West Hartford, we're reserving Wednesday afternoons for professional learning, which is arguably more important than it's ever been. And our hope, as well as yours, I'm sure, is that all students will be welcomed back into the building for school every day at some point in October. So our superintendent has let us know that he's going to start with the elementary schools, presuming that will go well and our health metrics stay okay. We're going to get the secondary kids back all together as well, hopefully in October. So, our whole King Philip family is being very diligent about washing our hands and keeping our masks on, adhering to all of our COVID mitigation strategies. So, and I know you've been introduced to, at least through your team letters, your child's team teachers. You may not have met some of our extended family. And that's on the next slide. So you'll see, like for instance, Johanna Kuczynski is our teacher of English learners. She's supported by Miss Amanda Goller, who works not only at KP, but across the district, supporting students and families. Miss Martucci is our math interventionist who's teaching students not only at King Philip this year, but also at Sedgwick, Bristow, and remotely, all through the wonders of the internet. And of course, our school nurses, whose job has become more interesting than ever before. We have our reading teachers, a number of certified special education staff who work with the 8th grade. And brand new to KP is our clinical staff, but they're not new to practice. And there's some videos on the next couple slides, which we're not going to play for you at this time, but that you can go back in and click on those links and play the videos to be introduced to our new school psychologist, Dr. Joanna Miles, Miss Emily Markham, a new social worker, and Miss McFadden, who, while we wish we had her full time because she's fantastic, we have to share with Aiken this year. And also Miss Robbins, who's a new speech language pathologist, which is on the previous slide. And next up, Ms. Tamayo is going to talk to you about our school counseling program and specifically how it pertains to 8th grade.
Thank you, Mr. Gussie. It is wonderful to be here tonight with all of you 8th grade parents. Again, my name is Marisa Tamayo. I am the 8th grade school counselor. And many of you I know, but some of you I might not know, but just know that I am here for both you and your children as they go through the 8th grade, their last year of middle school. It is certainly an interesting year for them. As I think about it, of course, the start of the school year is very different. And I am here to still support them throughout the changes and transitions. So, of course, the beginning of the school year is all about adjusting to this new year and the new schedule and their new teams and the new people on their teams. But then as the year goes on, I will support them in whatever encounters they might have, whether it's peer conflicts, whether it's situations academically, emotionally, things that might be happening outside of school that might be affecting their school life. And of course, there's always the big transition at the end of the school year with the high school transition coming up. And so I'll be there to support them and to support all of you throughout the entire year. And I can do that in a number of different ways, as you'll see on this slide, whether it's individually. This year, it'll have to be maybe in small groups, maybe 1 or 2 students, not in the larger groups that I've had before, but I will certainly be there both in person and also have virtual meetings as well. I do work with Mrs. Wilson, who is also a counselor on our team, and she does support students as well. And I also have other colleagues, Mrs. Graff, as well as Mrs. Berry, who are here this year to support our other grades. But just like the administrative team, the counseling team works as a team. So if I, for some reason, am not available, then there are many other counselors to support your students and your children. I'm really looking forward to this 8th grade year. I'm really excited. And if there's ever any time that you all need me, please feel free to reach out to me. Students and parents can access me or Mrs. Wilson by emailing us, by calling us, of course. Students can access us by asking their teachers to see a counselor, or we do have on a Google Classroom for school counseling, we do have a Google form that students can fill out to connect with us and organize a meeting with us, both in person and virtually. So I look forward to seeing you all, whether it's in person or virtual, and look forward to supporting your students and your children.
Thank you, Ms. Tamayo. This slide, as it says, are some suggestions for what you can do to support your student at home. So obviously, we're going to work very hard and try our very best to make sure your child is appropriately challenged, they have what they need to advance through the curriculum and extend their thinking and their learning in preparation for our 8th graders, just for high school, but also the world beyond. Yes, but we always we know how important the family partnerships are that we have at King Philip and throughout West Hartford. These are things that you can do at home, and many of you already probably do, to support your child in their learning. We know recently, although it seems better this week, initially early on in the school year, there was some difficulty logging into Google Classrooms and those Google meetings for the afternoon meetings. So I'm glad that's improving. But if you're still having some difficulty with that, certainly the first stop would be to go to that teacher for that Google Classroom. And if we look at the next slide, you can see how to get to the 8th grade teams and contact information for the 8th grade team teachers. So they're a fantastic resource. Like I said before, your students are in good hands with us at King Philip. They're in good hands with our 8th grade teachers. So reach out to the teachers, team leaders, and they can help you solve problems, be it logging into Google Classroom or otherwise. But of course, Ms. Tamayo, myself, and others at King Philip are also here to support and help out your children along the way through 8th grade. One person who has helped us make the website as useful and such a good resource is Mr. St. Germain, who happens to be one of the district webmasters, and he's going to talk to you a little about our library learning commons now.
Good evening. I am Dave St. Germain. I've been at King Philip for the past 3 years now, or actually going to my 3rd year. It's been a really great experience because 6 years before coming to KP, I had been at Bugby Elementary School. So right now, I believe the kids who are at KP were either kindergartners or preschoolers when I had them, and then seeing them again when I first arrived at KP, all grown up, was just a fun experience. It's nice to see how kids make progress and grow and learn and change. It's amazing. It's one of the great things about educating. So in our Library Media Center, even with the change in schedules, we're still engaging in media literacy lessons with classes, and we will be working on research skills throughout the school year. My primary job is promoting a love of books and reading. And it's a joy to work for the administrators I do work with, because they are all readers and love kids literature, and we have a lot of great discussions about books. We will be holding virtual author events this year. I work very closely with the other middle school media specialists, Melissa Tom at Bristow and Shannon McNeese at Sedgwick. And we received a West Hartford Foundation grant this year to bring in authors virtually pretty much every month this school year, and possibly more. So we're excited. We're getting really well-known authors. If you know about the Nutmeg Book Awards, it's a Connecticut Children's Book Award that's awarded by votes from children, from students throughout Connecticut. We have Nutmeg Book Award nominees who will be meeting with us over the next few weeks, and I will get this information out to students. We will be holding our Scholastic Book Fair. It's going to look probably a little bit different than it usually does, but we will have that. It's a great fundraiser for the library. And it's also a great way for us to get books into kids' hands. If we hold two during the year, the second one can be a buy one, get one free, which is like one of my favorite things. I love the get one free part. We are still in discussions about the readathon and how that might happen and look. Keeping my fingers crossed that we are back to school then. And able to do that. It's a really fun activity for kids. It's a fun day centered on reading and literacy activities. And I will be having a KP book club where we, as a group, select a book that we all read over a month and then come back and we discuss that book. And we also discuss other things that we're reading and have fun activities. That will be held virtually this year, just so everybody can participate. And another thing that we do offer is some in-person and online tech help for students. We work with kids to help them get those who are bringing their own device, which we do encourage. We help them get online and figure out how to navigate our Wi-Fi, which is a little bit more complicated probably than it should be. But if you have questions, feel free to email me. And the link to my website is at the bottom of this page. You'll be getting a copy of this slideshow. I put it in the chat and I'll put it again later on, and it will be posted on the KP website. So any of the links that you do see or videos that you see throughout the presentation, you'll be able to access later on. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. St. Germain. All right. So some people have asked about virtual clubs, wanting to make sure, which is great because it allows students to focus on a passion or interest, as well as connecting them with other peers. And so we are going to run virtual clubs. More is coming. We're getting proposals. We hope to start them starting the first week of October. Right now, I already know Mr. St. Germain is the advisor for mock trial. And so they've announced that they're going to do a virtual competition and there will be spots available. So please look out for that when we send it in the next couple of weeks, where they'll be doing auditions. And there's another one that I knew was coming. Oh, our diversity club has already posted something to social media. They will also be meeting. So there will be some things that'll be long-term, year-long events, and then there may be some shorter activities, kind of like some spurts of things, series of things. So just know we will advertise that, and those will be available for not only students that are currently participating in our hybrid plan, but I had mentioned in an earlier video to our remote learning experience students, so that all KP students can be involved. So I just want you to know it's coming. And so just a reminder about our advisory and conferences. It's how we run our conferences. And so your advisory teacher still continues to be your key contact person on team, but of course you have a team leader, so you can reach out to that person as well. Our advisory is scheduled every day, and so there's activities and lessons Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And web leaders, if your child's a web leader, they will be doing something at least twice a month with our 6th grade students, their mentees, on Wednesdays. And so that'll be twice a month. Ms. Tamayo is one of the coordinators, but your child will be doing that on Wednesdays. And we'll also have virtual announcements on Wednesdays, similar to our video announcements that we had when we weren't all in the building. And so we'll also still be hosting student-led conferences. I don't know how that's going to look yet. I can imagine it may be a little different, but we're still planning to hold our conferences. And these are the fall dates and the spring dates. You can also find these on the West Hartford website with the school calendar, but I wanted you to have those so that you were aware. Just a reminder about our communication. Our KP website is a great source for communication. We have a school-wide, right now it's weekly communication. As things settle, we'll go to a bi-monthly communication. That's our KP Connection. We're going to be putting that out on Wednesdays. So tomorrow will be our first start at that. We'll be doing Wednesdays. And then our teams continue to send weekly or bi-monthly team communication and emails, Google Meets. We're on social media as well. And this year, we're adding a monthly lead learner coffee and conversation. If you're a morning person, that date is Wednesday, September 23rd from 7 to 8 a.m. Bring your own coffee. I'm not going to be able to provide you with some, but I may have mine. And then we'll have an evening session for 6:30 to 7:30. Don't need to attend both, just need to attend the one that's most important for you at that time. All right, like here we are at 6:22, and we are ready to release you to meet with your teams. The first one will be our Unified Arts. So our 8th grade Unified Arts teachers are excited to talk to you about what your child will be learning in 8th grade for Unified Arts. Just as a reminder, Mr. St. Germain did put, again, the slideshow, and so we sent this out earlier today. If you've misplaced it, you can click on this within the slideshow and it'll take you right to the 8th grade Unified Arts link. And so I believe that we've answered the questions. We want to say thank you. I just want to bring up our guests for our final goodbye. So remember to reach out to any of us if you need support and assistance. Thank you again for the gift of working with your children. And thank you for your continued patience, flexibility, but most of all, your partnership. Be well.